Alright, so today we're going to start making the base for our pot. There's two ways that you can do it, and we're going to be basing it off of the size that we've mapped out for the base here. So I want to make whatever size I choose, or whatever base I choose, the same size as this bottom. Now your two choices for bases are a pinch pot. So we're going to make a little tiny pinch pot, and we'll show how to do that. The size, or the clay that you're going to be using to make the pinch pot, is cut into squares. So notice a square will make a pinch pot. The other type of base is a coil. This can either be the bottom, so it could go facing down, or it could be the inside of your pot that you would build. To make a coil base, you're going to need a rectangular piece of clay. So you need to decide, am I going to make a pinch pot, or am I going to make a coil? And once you've decided, you're going to get that size of clay. So if I'm going to be making a pinch pot, I have this square piece. I'm going to work it in my hands until I have created a ball of clay. So I'm going to fast forward to that. So now I have this ball of clay that I've made. To make a pinch pot, I know you guys have done this before, but what you're doing is you're going to put your thumb into the pot and my hand is on the other side, and I'm pushing my thumb into the pot until I almost feel like it's out the bottom. Okay, now that my thumb is inside there, I'm going to take my thumb out, or actually I'm going to put my thumb back in, and I'm going to use my hand like a duck bill, and I'm going to be putting the other part of it in my hand, and I'm going to be moving around the pot, pinching it. Now I'm not just squeezing it together, I'm kind of trying to work the clay away from my fingers, and I'm trying to make an even thickness with the walls all the way around. So I'm pinch and turn, pinch. Another strategy is people put their thumb against their hand and the other hand is underneath, and they keep that hand there and then just keep moving this piece. Okay, our goal is to get the walls the same thickness from the bottom all the way to the top. Now I want to make the opening wide enough that I can start building my coils. This is way too narrow, especially if I'm going to be trying to make like a bowl or something, and it's got to come out from here. So I can kind of tap the base, and then I can move the base out a little bit. Make sure you're not only pinching the top, and I can widen the base again and kind of form it. I also need to make the bottom flat so that I can start building from here. So this would be the place where I start working and creating my first coil. It's just my base. Okay, so everything is no thicker than my pinky. So this could be the beginning of my coil or my pinch pot base, and then I would start building my first row of coils on there. So that is a pinch pot base. If you are making a coil base, you're going to be starting with the rectangular piece of clay. Now a coil, fifth graders, this is a coil of rope. Okay, notice that the coil is not flat, it is round. So that's our goal. So I have my piece here, and this is going to go for every single coil that you make. You're going to start with this rectangular piece, and you're first going to squeeze it out into a longer coil type shape. Okay, I don't want to squeeze it too much because I want to keep it even thickness. Okay, move some of this stuff so you can see here. Now when you roll a coil, you're going to start from the inside, the middle of the coil, and roll out. You're using your entire hand, not just your fingers. You're rolling the coil back and forth, and you're rolling from your fingertips almost down to your wrists. So I'm going to back it up. And you're applying just gentle pressure, and I'm kind of spreading my fingers as I go to move the clay down the coil. So the goal is that it is still round. If you get to a point where your coil is flat on one side, you can press it down to make it round again and then re-roll it out. So I'm moving the coil back and forth, and the goal is by separating my fingers, I'm pushing the clay down the coil so it makes it nice and long. So see, now this is too flat, so I can press it down and press it and then re-roll it out. The goal is I'm making it as thin as my pinky and the whole way down. So I'm still working on making these coils nice and round, not flat. If it breaks off, just keep that piece because we can attach them. So I've rolled this out quite a ways. I can tell that this part is a little too thick. Okay, I'm actually going to break that off there and use this piece. Roll out just this in. Okay, now that I have a pretty long coil, to make my coil base, using this as my guide though too, I need to make sure that I fit it onto this size here. I'm going to start by scoring this piece. So this whole piece I'm going to be roughing up with a scoring tool, using some slip on my finger, and then I'm just going to start kind of snaking it into itself like a spiral. So I'm just going now I can put it on top of my base and say, it's not quite big enough, so I might have to score and slip and add on a little bit more. So remember, I'm going to score these two pieces, score this whole piece, and score the piece that it attaches to, and I can add on this new piece. Now that I have about the same size as my base, now I'm going to be smoothing one side to make it strong. So I can just take my finger, and just by taking my finger over the top of the coil, smoothing everything together and making it strong. I can also use this tool called a rib to smooth piece. Oops. Make it nice and flat. Okay, so now I know that this is the right size because I've measured it. This is going to be the place where I start building the rest of my vase or my pot. And same with this one, I can tell that, ooh, if this was going to be my base, it needs to be a little larger. So I'd have to work to either thin this out or use a larger piece of clay so that it's going to fill my base here. Okay, so fifth graders, I've given you some, or two methods to start your base, and that is what you're going to start when you go down to the clay room.